Welcome to Ytunes Shuffle. This is David Earl Waterman. This is how the show works. My guest will put their music device on shuffle or Genius or whatever they choose, so that whatever song happens to come up on their smartphone or their iPhone or tablet will be somewhat of a surprise. That tune will then inform our conversation, our interview, so to speak. And we'll talk about the music. We'll talk about anything else that might come up. And my guest for number 4 is my very long, old, dear friend from back east. Met him out here in Los Angeles, California. Billy Tigue. Thanks for coming on Ytunes Shuffle.
Thanks for having me, Dave.
Wow, man. So is this our first song coming up right now?
Yeah, it is.
I'm going to give it some volume. Let the listeners hear a little bit of it. Billy and I went to go see U2 the other night, so we're pretty psyched, left over from that. Oh, speaking of...
Yeah, this is one of my favorite songs by them.
What is this song? Tell me about it.
It's called Ultraviolet. It's off Achtung Baby. When I first moved to California, I came with a suitcase and $100, and I had one suitcase full of clothes, and then an overhead bag, or an over-shoulder bag, and I had this album. It's Achtung Baby. It came out in '91, and I came out in the beginning of '92, and I must have played this like 100 times. My roommate wanted to kill me.
So in 1991, that's when you moved out to Cali.
No, I moved to early '92. First time I ever played fantasy football with my friends. It cost me like $40 or something. And they thought I was a cheap bastard because I never made any trades. I never bought any new players. I just kept the same 8 or 10 players you always play, like the running backs and the quarterbacks and the wide receivers. And I played the same people every week.
Where were you playing the fantasy football?
Back in Scranton with about 10 guys. And what you do is you have a quarterback and you have a running back and you have a receiver.
Yeah.
And what they do is whoever has the most points, and you get points by the most yardage the quarterback throws or TDs that he throws, or the running back, how many TDs he runs or how many rushing yards he has.
So you're playing the fantasy football in Scranton, and then you say, fuck it, I'm moving to...
No, actually...
what happened?
No, I was working at the Globe store.
What's the Globe store?
It's Wanamaker's. It's kind of like a Macy's department store, and I was working in the men's department store from like September to December for the Christmas season, selling men's clothing.
Yeah.
And I played this fantasy football league, and I won. And I never spent an extra dime, and everybody hated me because I actually won it.
How much did you win?
I won, I think it was about, it might have been 300 to 500. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it
more
gave me,
than enough to move to California.
It gave me, well, I think every penny I won, I got a one-way ticket to California because I didn't want to have the option of coming back. So I got a one-way ticket, and it was like 3 times as much as a round trip.
Uh-huh.
So I set myself up not to fail, actually, which is not usually what I do.
You took a risk. And Achtung Baby is a song that takes you back to that point
Yeah,
of
because
your
I
life.
was listening to that, and I was listening to that album all the time.
Don't cover your mouth with your hand.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
I was I was listening to that album like all the time when I first moved out here. I moved on to the University of California Irvine campus with my friend Joel and his wife Karen, and I lived kind of illegally in student housing. And I just played this, it's the only tape I had, and I'd play it on his boombox, non-stop.
On a cassette tape?
On a cassette tape. Yeah.
Achtung Baby on a cassette
tape. And this is one of my favorite tunes.
Why is this one of your favorite tunes? What is it about it that makes it your favorite? The lyrics.
The lyrics, the way it builds up, what he's saying. I think it's when he's down and out, and he has this woman that just gives him light,
So this
it lights his way, and that's what they're saying. Yeah, there's a lot of energy to it.
I think it's because we're in Hollywood for a lot of these first shows, and I'm actually interviewing people you know as well, but should come as no surprise to the listeners. You came out to Hollywood with that dream, am I right?
Yeah, totally. I came out here
The
in
acting
92.
dream.
Yeah, right before I moved to Scranton, from Scranton, I did The Little Prince, which was an adaptation by Mike Draper, this great playwright and actor back in Scranton. It was for the Scranton Public Theater, which was run by Jason Miller. Jason Miller was Father Karras in The Exorcist. He's a great actor. And I did that, and because I wanted to at least be back on stage or something before I came out here, because I hadn't done anything in a couple of years. I was busy doing other things.
Well, you say that with a little bit of an eyebrow raise. I don't know if you want to get into it.
Well, you know, I was early to mid 20s, and you know, I decided that you know, drinking and women and you know, having a good time was a lot more important than my career, which is kind of ridiculous. Because I did go to oh, this is a good tune. This is
what is this one?
"Throw Away Your Television" by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Oh, okay, okay. So now you're in. You got your sea legs on stage back in Scranton.
Yeah.
You got into a fantasy football league and you won your way a ticket out here. Now you're in California.
Now I'm in California. I got here on a Tuesday, and Wednesday I went for a job interview, and Thursday I started working.
Working where?
I was working at a place called Peck and Jones.
Peck and Jones.
Yeah, it was a great gig. It was this temp gig, and it was supposed to last like 4 weeks. I made like $8.50 an hour or something.
Doing what?
I sat in an office, and there was 3 guys, and it's one of the oldest architectural engineering firms in Southern California.
Peck and Jones.
Peck and Jones. Mm-hmm. A lot of buildings around here in LA, you'll go by and you'll see these little brass platelets outside the building or in the sidewalk right before you walk in, and it'll say Peck Jones.
You did that for a few days?
It was unbelievable, because I worked my ass off my whole life. You know, like I started off peddling papers, and then I was dishwasher.
How
and
old were you when
cook.
you started doing papers?
11.
What are you from? Tigue is an Irish name.
Yeah, it's an Irish name.
I know you're from a big family, but I never can keep count. How
there's
many?
7 kids. There's 6 boys and 1 girl. So my parents weren't poor, but they couldn't. You know, they didn't have money to help me out get my new ponies or my new Pumas. I don't know if you know. There's a lot of people out there that don't know what ponies are, but
ponies are a
ponies
classic old high top leather.
Yeah,
sneaker.
like the poor man's high top. You know, and
ponies were. I had ponies, man. Ponies rocked.
Yeah, they were great. You can get low top or high top. A high top were the ones that you wanted to have. Otherwise, you get beatings, you know.
So you get out here, you get your first job, and you're living down in Irvine?
I'm living in Irvine, and I'm taking the bus. I didn't have a car. Like I said, I had nothing when I came out here. And I take the bus. I had no idea where my roommates took me for a ride and said, "This is where you're going to work." And I looked up the bus lanes, the bus routes, and I found the bus that goes there. And I got off, and I worked there about a month, and it was great because, like I was saying, I was used to like shoveling snow and working as a cook or really working hard. And all I did was I sat in this office. It was like maybe the 11th or 12th story, and I'm looking out at the window in February at a beautiful Southern California, you know, Irvine, Newport, and I didn't do anything. There was 3 guys there, and they were never there, and they're like, "Answer the phone," and the phone never rang.
So how long did you keep the job?
I had it maybe either 3 or 4 weeks, and so I felt like guilty, you know, and I said, well, I feel kind of guilty because I'm just sitting here and staring out the window, and they said, "Read if you want, you know, we just need somebody here." So what I did was I knew I'd eventually get a car, and I wanted to get around. I knew California was really big, so I got the Thomas Guide and a bunch of maps, and I memorized like every street corner from LA to Orange County. So when I did finally get a car, I knew exactly where I was going.
So you imprinted the entire, what was the book called?
It was called the Thomas Guide. It was before Google Maps.
Before we had computers, there used to be, the Thomas Guide was a way that we all kind of got around this labyrinth of Southern California.
Yeah, like if you had an audition back in the 90s, it would tell you where the.
So you start auditioning.
Well, I started auditioning, about a year.
Here's your number 3 song, by the way. Who's this?
This is Blink 182.
Now, why is Blink 182 on your shuffle?
I think they're great. It's like a 3-piece punk band, and they're kind of like post-punk, you know?
Yeah.
Because they're also a lot of surfers listen to this. And when about 2000, 2001, I met a really good friend of mine, Kip.
Yeah.
And he got me into surfing. I was always into, I love the ocean.
You took on, Cal. You learned the Thomas Guide.
Yeah.
You came out with a one-way ticket. You learned the Thomas Guide. You get a mafia-style job where you basically show up.
Well, I only had that job for like 3 weeks, like I said, 3 weeks to a month. And then I worked at some other place for a week, and then I got a job with the government for Orange County, and I had that job for 6 years.
And you stayed in Orange County for the first 6 years?
No, I stayed in Orange County for the first 2.5 years, and then when I had enough money to move, I moved up to Hollywood, and I was doing plays at night, but at night, or during the day, I'd drive all the way down to Santa Ana. It was about an hour each way. That was
what
before
kind of
the traffic
plays were
was
you
really
doing?
bad.
Once you got into the acting scene, you were doing mostly stage work out here.
Yeah,
which
well,
a lot of people don't realize Los Angeles, back then, there wasn't a lot of theater, stage theater.
No, I was always a theater guy. I did theater. First play I was ever in was I did Oliver. I was in the 6th grade, and at St. Mary Mount Carmel School in Dunmore, in Scranton, and they said there's auditions up at Bishop O'Hara, the high school. Who wants to go up and audition for the play? And I thought, well, I always wanted to. I loved movies, and I thought like that would be so cool. Plus, I get the half of the day off. So I walked up to the high school and I auditioned, and I actually got the part. But through politics and stuff, I was the understudy. But it was the first play I ever auditioned for.
You got into it, and that's what you knew. So when you're out here doing plays, what was the first play group you were in out here in California?
I did a play called The Dining Room by A.R. Gurney, and it was in Costa Mesa Civic Playhouse. And it's pretty much an ensemble piece, and the whole play takes place in a dining room. And it's all these different little vignettes of different kind of crazy families and like really rich people. And there was one scene where it was I was a psychiatrist, and I had this lunatic that I was trying to help out. And these dysfunctional families, and every single vignette took place in a dining room. And it was a little absurd.
How long did that play run?
Ran 4 to 6 weeks. I can't remember what it was. I was here exactly about a year and 2 months in California when I got cast in that.
How long have you now lived in Southern California? I know there's been some breaks, but altogether.
23 years.
And if we were to go ahead and just say, like, okay, Scranton, fantasy football, money in my pocket, I'm going for it. It's now been 20 years.
I always had balls of steel, like when I was...
I've heard that about you. So my question is, like, it's now 20 years, Scranton, Southern California, where are we today? What's going on with Billy Tigue today?
Today, Dave, I try to, I hate to be cliche, but I try to take it a day at a time. Mm-hmm. Because I really don't know what's ahead of me. I love Scranton, and a lot of times I really want to move back because that's where my family is. Mm-hmm. And I kind of miss the weather, and I miss my friends.
What's this song, buddy? We got the new one.
This is called Halo, and it's by a group called Porcupine Tree. It's kind of like Pink Floyd meets Metallica.
How'd you hear about this?
This young kid I work with named Austin. He was playing this on his iPhone one day at work, and it's just great. I mean, the bass line is tremendous, and they're considered. I guess they're considered like prog rock, like progressive rock, but modern day progressive rock, not like ELO or anything. But Adrian Belew, the guitarist for King Crimson, actually plays guitar in here. Because he liked them so much, he asked them if he could play on one of their songs. So
okay, yeah. So now you were saying that you kind of miss your family, and you're actually thinking about wanting to go back to Scranton.
Yeah, I'd really love to go back because it's an easier life, and it's so insane out here in California.
I mean, what's your personal experience, if you don't mind, Billy, talking a little bit about, like, let's say you're back in Scranton now 2 years, and some young fuck comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, Billy, you lived out in L.A., man. How would you sum that up for them?
Don't go. Stay here. Get a paper out. No, I mean, I realized about. I was really like one of those bitter actors, because I worked my ass off, and I was in class, and I probably did 2 or 3 plays a year, and I was always in class, and I was always taking different types of classes, and had a regular acting class that I was in. I was in acting classes for 2 years at a time or 3 years at a time with different acting teachers in this town, really good ones too. And then I'd take on the camera, on-camera class, or I'd take an improv class. And I really worked my ass off, and I did short films, and I was an extra, and I did student films and all that stuff. But it's a full-time job on top of a full-time job because you need to support yourself. And I realized after a couple of years of being really bitter and really angry that it's pretty much a numbers game. My numbers didn't come in, and I got to be.
I got the same numbers you got.
So we both won $1 in the lottery, right?
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
And
but we tried, right?
And that's the thing, Billy. I mean, it's like, I'm doing this podcast, Ytunes Shuffle.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun doing it. Thank you.
I'm glad, and
we're sitting here at my home in the on Nichols Canyon in the Hollywood Hills, and we have like what do we have around us?
We're surrounded by vegetation.
Vegetation.
The sun is out. It's like a beautiful, beautiful summer day. The stuff. I'm from upstate New York, Ithaca, so Scranton and Ithaca, very similar environments.
Yeah.
When I first met Billy, that's how we bonded. It's like that, that upstate, the East Coast sort of, not Philly, not New York City, but Scranton, Pennsylvania, Syracuse, Ithaca, New York.
Oh yeah,
and here we are, man. I mean, this is. Like, is this going to be, if you do move back to Scranton, what are you going to miss about Los Angeles?
I guess grass is always greener on the other side. I don't know what I would miss until I got there, I guess, so I really can't say.
But that's your plan now. You've been here 20 years, and you're considering.
Well, I think it's a pipe dream as far as moving back there, because every time I think about moving back there, I get kind of anxious because I don't know what kind of job I'd get out there. I don't know where I'd live. It's a hard decision to make. I mean, you and I have talked about it. I mean, you really can't find. It's really tough to find it, especially at our age. Guys they're pretty much stand-up guys and good friends, and it's so expensive out here, and traffic sucks. But like where I work, I had the opportunity to get some tickets, and you were with me. We were like right next to the stage.
Just so folks know, Billy has been my hookup for a number of outstanding concerts in the Hollywood Bowl, we went in Hollywood Park, which we saw being demolished today.
It was demolished on TV. I missed that. I gotta watch it.
I saw the rerun. What was the? It was. You took me to a show at Hollywood Park, which. It was the English Beat. It was the English Beat.
Yeah.
And it was a horse track.
Yeah.
And then last week, we went and saw you2, and most of that came through your employer.
Yeah, I got a lot of. That's a great thing about living in LA.
What's this song, by the way? You don't mind going a few extra songs?
No, this is called Lazarus. It's also a Porcupine Tree tune. It's a really pretty song. It has a really nice piano. I kind of like really aggressive songs sometimes, once in a while, but you got to have like lay back.
Your preference is aggressive.
Not too aggressive. I'm not much into that punk too much, and I'm not much into like metal, or like speed metal or anything. But I like a great bass line and kind of a driving song. Mm-hmm. But this has a really nice melodic thing to it with the piano.
Where does it take you emotionally?
Emotionally, it'd take me to maybe being on my surfboard, which I miss doing. I'd love to hear this song if I was just paddling out and watching the dolphins.
Why can't? What's up with the surfing?
Well, I got a neck injury, so it's really difficult for me to be on my surfboard and have my neck up like that right now. I'm gonna have to see how it happens, what goes on with my prognosis from my doctor. But I started doing this thing called paddleboarding, and but I've always been kind of an aggressive person. I always liked contact sports. Uh-huh. I like surfing because you kind of get thrown around. Mm-hmm. I never boxed professionally or amateur, but I used to box down at the Y, and it's weird, but it's fun to get punched in the face once in a while because you get to punch the guy back, or at least try, and there's like this bond between the two guys. So the whole aggressiveness that I like, I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's from having older brothers and younger brothers, and fighting with the kids in the neighborhood, or but once in a while it's nice to hear a nice piano song. I don't know if I segued into that.
No, I think it's the whole idea behind this show, Billy, as I've told you, in private conversations we had building up to it, is, music is primal. It informs so much of not only what's happening in the moment that we're hearing it for the first time, but
it can bring so many different emotions. Like one day a song could remind you of the happiest times in your life, and the next day, if you hear it, or a month later or a year later, you could they hear that song and you could think of it like, I don't know, somebody that screwed you over, or a girlfriend that you still care about, or whatever. So it really is beautiful, like the emotions you can have from music, and you dance from it, and you have a tapping to it as you're driving, and it helps you get through like a sucky day of traffic here in LA, or it helps you fall asleep, whatever. For me, music is really important.
Yeah, I think it is for a lot of us, and that's the way I want to kind of take this new media and in a direction that my own pursuits in Hollywood and entertainment. It's like, so glad that you were willing to come on and share a little bit about yourself, and
my pleasure.
I hope you'll come back and do another segment. I'm going to have people, recurring guests, and we'll figure out your next shuffle and see what music comes up.
Hey, Dave, I have an idea. When I was in college, we did a lot of radio plays, and I love doing it because I have all these different voices that I can do. And because of I think I'm a fairly good actor.
You're a damn good actor. I've seen you on stage.
Well, thanks. But you could do so much more on a radio play than you can on a camera or on the stage, because there's so much. So much spontaneity into a radio show. It's really terrific.
Well, that might
I don't know if you've ever done that.
That might be a direction that the sky's the limit. But the question is, are you going to stay? And what's that Clash song? Should I stay or should I go?
Actually.
So it all depends largely on whether you're going to stick around. You'll come back and be on the show again.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I mean, I'm here for a while in California, so.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I can't post it if I go over 26 minutes. Otherwise, It's not going to come on. But I want to just officially thank you right now. This has been show number 4, Ytunes Shuffle. My guest, Billy Tigue, very long, dear, old friend out here in California, and you'll be hearing from Billy again.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for listening. We're out of here.
All right. Thank you.